One of my favorite questions that I get asked often is, how do I know what my real voice sounds like? And it's understandable that we would ask this because it seems like we should know already. But the truth is, most of us are overthinkers. Most of us are, we're not so sure if we're speaking with the correct voice. We get into voice lessons and we realize there's so much to learn. How do I possibly know if I'm doing everything right? And so I want to share a few tips today and give you an exercise that you can do to try and figure out what your real voice actually sounds like. But before we do that, let's just address some things that actually create a false voice. And so the first thing I want you to understand is that most of your voice is the result of your surroundings, your environment. We learn our accents subconsciously. We learn a lot of our speech patterns through culture, through the environment. If you think about it, you may have met somebody who looks completely different from the people in your community, but they have the same exact accent as you. They have the same manner of speech. Sometimes you will meet somebody who looks a lot younger than they actually are, and then they start talking, and you realize that they're a lot older than they look because they have certain speech patterns that are not really in line with the age bracket you originally thought they were in. It's very interesting. Accents are a great place to start. So you may have grown up in one region of your country, or you may have grown up in a country and then you moved somewhere else when you were a teenager. And so you adopted certain aspects of the accent in the surroundings around you in your new environment, whether you realized it or not. We are all a product of the voices around us. It's actually quite fascinating when you start thinking about it. People who have lived in different places, even the media that you have frequently watched, especially when you were growing up, will have an impact on your voice. When I tell people that I'm from a city that has a Southern accent, they don't understand it because I don't really have a Southern accent at all. And the reason for that is because I wasn't originally from that city. I moved down there from the Northeast when I was about 7 or 8 years old. So I already had a Northern accent, but I did live there for a long time. But the whole time I lived there, I was studying classical voice, I was studying theater, and so I was studying foreign languages. And so, of course, I never picked up on the accent because I was too busy training my voice to have this sort of neutral accent. And so that's why I don't have a Southern accent. And so you might find it interesting to go into your own history, to think about different influences that might have created the voice that you have. And so, what is your real voice? Maybe you picked up on a habit that actually causes stress to your voice and actually causes you to be tired. One of the cultural voice programs that I often talk about is vocal fry. If you grow up within a certain generation, or perhaps you watched a lot of certain TV shows, you may have picked up on a lot of vocal fry. And that could be part of the reason why you feel tired a lot, because we all tend to use a bit of vocal fry here and there. But if you use a lot of it, you might find that you get tired quickly. And so it's not a flaw. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with your voice. It just means you picked up a habit that might be causing some tension or some fatigue. And so, what we want to do is we want to get to know what feels good, what actually feels good in your voice. And that's how you know you've arrived at your true voice. You may be speaking too high or too low for your body. And so today, what I want to do is I want to show you a quick little exercise you can start doing to try and get to know what your voice actually wants to sound like. And so, first, what I'd like you to do is uncross your legs if they are and sit up really tall. And let's just start off by warming up the muscles around the face. So go ahead and stretch your face out like me. We're trying to let go of any tension in the jaw, because jaw tension can affect your voice negatively. And then go ahead and roll your shoulders back. Tension in the back can affect your voice, can make it so that you have to strain a little bit when you speak. And that's not your authentic voice. Your authentic voice comes from a relaxed body. And now let's flutter our lips. If you've experienced any kind of intense emotional trauma or abuse, you had to learn how to censor yourself. And so that means you probably developed some tension around your upper lip, especially your jaw and your tongue. And so lip trills are a great way of relaxing some of that tension in the face. So let's do a few more. And now let's do some big inhales, and we're going to sigh it out with a nice open throat. So pretend like you're letting out a huge yawn with sound, like this. The idea here is to drop the back of the tongue. That's exactly what would happen in a yawn. Your jaw would be forced down and your tongue would flatten out. And that would allow a nice open channel in your throat. So let's do this again. And I want you to maintain an upright posture the whole time. Even as you drop in your pitch and it's tempting to cave inward, stay upright like this. So inhale. As we drop down in our pitch, feel the vibrations in your chest. Allow the vibrations of your own voice to break up any tension hiding in your chest. One more time. Okay, so hopefully you feel a little more relaxed than you did before. It's essential to learn how to relax the body if you want to find your true voice. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do a sliding practice where we're going to start off high and slide down and slide up again. This is sort of like mimicking a siren. It's going to sound like this. So let's try this together. We start high, we slide down and up and down. So you may notice we're trying to stay upright like we did with that yawn sigh. And we're basically doing the yawn sigh, but this time let's do it from low to high. So we are beginning lower than is comfortable, and we're going higher than is comfortable. Let's do that again. Now let's go ahead and shrink the range a little bit. So we're going to start in a more comfortable low range, maybe resonating more up here than down here. And we're going to stop in a more comfortable space. So we're not going to try to go higher than comfortable. We're shrinking our range like this. Oh. Oh. And the whole time we keep an open throat, which means the back of our tongue is down, our jaw is dropped, and we can feel some of the vibrations actually resonating right here in the chest. Maybe we feel a little bit right here as well. Let's try it again. Oh. feel free to pause the video and do this several times. As you get comfortable with that sliding action, it should feel good. So if at any point you feel like you're straining, pause the video and just do this several times. Play around with your tongue, see if you can get it to drop down, see if you can get your jaw to drop. And see if you can just siren slide up into the high notes so that we're not stressing out our throat right here. Just keep it nice and gentle. Now we're going to shorten the range even more. When we speak, we don't speak with a huge range the way we do when we sing. We tend to stick to just a few notes, like 3 notes, sometimes 4, sometimes 5, depending on how dynamic of a speaker you are. But most of us, our speaking range is very, very small. So let's tighten it up a little bit. Again, you want to feel comfortable in your low sound, comfortable when you reach the top. So as you do this, adjust accordingly. Here we go. Oh, oh, oh. Now for you, your range may actually be a lot lower than mine. It may be a lot higher than mine. So I recommend you pause and do it on your own. Find the pitch that works for you. The key is to find the comfort. So if anything is uncomfortable, adjust. Get to the place where it feels good. Now, what you want to do next is you want to really start to narrow it down to 1 or 2 notes, 1 or 2 pitches where you feel really good. And here's what you're going to do next. Ah. You're going to settle in on a pitch that feels nice. Ah. And when you find the pitch that feels good, practice saying some words. I love my voice. I love my voice. And as I speak on that pitch, I love my voice, everything stays open. The back of my tongue stays dropped. I can move my jaw quite comfortably, and I can even keep it rested and open. I feel the vibrations in my chest. I love my voice. That is what you want to feel. You want to feel comfortable. So I recommend you pause the video right now and practice that and see if you can find the range that feels good. I'm going to bet that you find out that you want to speak lower than you currently do. And some of you, I might be wrong. Some of you might want to actually speak higher. What is it for you? When you figure out where you feel more comfortable, leave it in the comments. And let's notice how many people discover that they have been speaking either too high or too low. It's pretty wild once you discover this. The next step is to practice in the privacy of your own home or in your car. I recommend you get some speech practice sheets and practice speaking in the comfortable range before you try to do this in front of other people. It's too much to think about in front of other people. But give this a shot. And if you want some extra guidance, my voice liberation method, my private healthy voice community, or private sessions are a great way to really go deep. I hope you enjoyed this practice. If you'd like a journal prompt, ask yourself, do you feel like you change your voice because either you want people to feel comfortable around you or because you want to warn them to back off? Because a lot of us adjust our voices either due to feeling like we don't want to be intimidating or we don't want people messing with us. So ask yourself, which one of those subconscious survival tactics do you take? And how might it be affecting your voice? And also ask yourself, what is your cultural vocal history? What countries have you lived in? What areas of those countries have you lived in? What are the voices like in that area, and how might they have affected your voice? What are some TV shows that you absolutely loved growing up, where you watched it year after year. How may you have adopted some of the vocal habits of the people on those TV shows? It is wild when you start realizing how much outside influence affects our voice, as well as internal trauma responses. So start investigating. Let me know what you find out in the comments. I'm really interested to see, and I'm sure everybody else is curious as well. Thank you for being here. Keep going because the world needs your unique voice. I'll see you in the next video.